Everyone in my village knows the rule. Never whistle at night in the forest. My cousin didn't believe it. This is what happened 3 years ago in the interior of Brazil, where the old folklore is still very much alive. Vila São Bento, population less than 1,000, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and stories pass from generation to generation like inheritance. My cousin Rafael was 23, city boy, studied in Sao Paulo, came back for Christmas thinking he knew better than the old folks. My grandmother warned him the first night, "Don't whistle near the mata. Don't answer if you hear your name called from the trees. And never, never follow lights in the forest." Rafael laughed, called it primitive superstition, said he'd prove there was nothing to fear. He would regret that laugh. December 23rd. The sun sets early in the countryside. By 6 p.m., darkness already claimed the forest edge behind my grandmother's house. Rafael wanted to prove his point. He grabbed a beer, walked to the backyard, right where the grass meets the trees. And he whistled. Not just once, 3 times. Long, clear notes that cut through the evening air. My grandmother froze in the kitchen. I saw her face drain of color. She whispered, "Ele chamou o Curupira." For those who don't know, the Curupira is a forest protector, a spirit. Indigenous legend says he has red hair, feet turned backwards, and he punishes those who disrespect the forest. But here's what the tourists don't know. He doesn't just punish, he hunts. Nothing happened at first. That night, Rafael couldn't sleep. He heard whistling, distant at first, like an echo of his own, but it was coming from the forest, and it was getting closer. Then, footsteps. On the roof. But wrong, like someone walking backwards. Rafael texted me, "Do you hear this?" I was in the next room. I heard nothing. 3 a.m., the whistling stopped. What came next was worse. Silence. Complete, unnatural silence. No insects, no night birds, nothing. 4 a.m., Rafael ran to my room, pale, sweating. He'd looked out the window. Something was standing at the forest edge. Red hair, turned away from the house. But Rafael swore he could see its face, watching him anyway. My grandmother woke up. She didn't ask questions. She knew. She made Rafael kneel at her altar, burned sage, tobacco leaves, said prayers in Old Portuguese mixed with indigenous words I didn't recognize. She told him, "You disrespected the guardian. Now you need to apologize. Properly." But here's where it gets stranger. The next morning, we found the proof. Footprints in the dirt around the house. Barefoot prints, small, child-sized. But they were backwards. Toes pointing toward the forest, heels toward the house. Like someone had walked around the property all night, in reverse. The village elders came. They didn't seem surprised. This had happened before. In 1987, to a logger. In 2003, to teenagers who burned a tree for fun. The pattern was always the same. Disrespect, warning, hunt. But they also said something that changed everything. The Curupira doesn't want to hurt you. He wants you to understand. That's when I realized Brazilian folklore isn't about monsters. It's about respect. These spirits, these protectors. They exist in a culture that lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years before colonization. The Curupira scares you because you need to be scared. Because fear is what keeps us from destroying what we don't understand. So what did Rafael have to do? My grandmother said he had to return to the forest edge at dusk with an offering, tobacco, cachaça, and a promise. He had to whistle again 3 times, but this time as an apology. I went with him. I won't lie, I'm terrified. The forest felt alive, watching, waiting. Rafael whistled, once, twice, 3 times. He placed the offering at the base of an old tree and spoke, voice shaking. I disrespected you. I didn't understand. I'm sorry. I promised to learn, to listen. For a moment, nothing, just wind in the leaves. Then we heard it, a whistle from deep in the forest. Not mocking, not threatening, almost acknowledging. The pressure in the air lifted. The forest sounds returned. Insects, birds, life. It was like the world had been holding its breath and finally exhaled. Rafael cried, not from fear, from relief, from something deeper, like he'd been seen by something ancient and been found worthy of a second chance. We walked back in silence. That night, he slept peacefully for the first time in 3 days. But the story doesn't end there. Rafael never returned to Sao Paulo. He stayed in Vila São Bento. He works with reforestation now, teaches kids about the forest. He says he finally understands what my grandmother always knew. These stories aren't fairy tales. They're wisdom. The Curupira, the Saci, the Boitatá, they're not trying to scare you. They're trying to teach you. Respect the forest. Respect what came before you. Respect what you don't fully understand. In a world where we've forgotten how to listen to nature, maybe we need these protectors more than ever. Maybe that's why the folklore is still alive in the interior of Brazil. Because some lessons can only be learned the hard way. This is just one story from the Brazilian interior. There are hundreds more, some terrifying, some beautiful, all true in the way that matters. If you want to hear more folklore stories from Brazil, subscribe. I'll take you deeper into the forests, the rivers, the villages where the old world still whispers. And if you ever find yourself in the Brazilian countryside at night, remember the rules. Don't whistle at the forest. Don't follow the lights. And always, always show respect. Because out there, in the dark between the trees, something is listening.